what happens now with Jrue Holiday? In my mind, Bontemps, you said 20 teams will call, but I actually think all the teams that were Dame Lillard teams instantly become Jrue Holiday teams.
A lot more teams than that.
Well, I'm just saying right out of the gate. I think Miami right out of the gate. Now, the question to me is, after this Cold War between Portland and Miami, can they now do business? Maybe the answer might be no. Can they now do business on Jrue? Well, I would. I'm a believer. Look, I'm a believer in you never let feelings get in the way of business.
There's only 29 other teams. Don't let hard feelings get in the way of a phone call.
I don't know why
you could argue they got in the way the last couple of months, so it worked out for Portland in the end. Look, Dame, we talked all summer about the constrictions on the Dame trade market, right? Those are all gone with Jrue. He's as plug and play a guy as there is in the league. He's also on a short-term deal. Obviously, teams would want to have a longer term.
But that might be a rental. It might be a rental.
It might be a rental, but it's easier to trade for a guy on that kind of deal than it is to trade for a guy owed $200 million in the current economic environment of the league.
That is true.
And Jrue Holiday fits on way more teams than Dame Lillard does because of the things he does and the way he can fit in.
Okay, but I want to know, do you think Portland and Miami can do a Jrue Holiday deal? Because if I was Miami, I would seriously be interested in that because, number one, you can get Jrue Holiday, who'd be a terrific fit there, and Jrue Holiday potentially being a free agent wouldn't be the end of the world.
Oh, no.
Because you could leave your options open going into the future. And you could still believe that you could keep Jrue. I mean, you wouldn't be able to sign him, so there'd be no pressure.
Secondly, if you're looking at Jrue Holiday, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, like, dude, that is a tough.
Yeah, it's super tough. He's a Miami Heat player through and through. He'd be a great fit there. If Philly could find a way to get him, he'd be an incredible fit there. If Boston could find a way to get him, he'd be an incredible fit there. If New York could find a way to get him, imagine what the Knicks.
Time out. Too fast. On the podcast, we talk about these teams. We don't just move through them.
Well, okay.
I would talk about Boston. Boston, I think, kicked the tires on Dame. I don't know how far they got, but I know that they kicked the tires. Jrue Holiday's been a thorn in the Celtics side for years now. Now, they squeezed through that series 2 years ago, but it was a rough one. Jrue Holiday gives them problems. So while you may look at the East and say, oh man, Milwaukee's far and away the leader, and they did jump up to the number one candidate, in the sports books already. But if you're the Celtics, you're like, you know what, we kind of just now we don't have to deal with him, and we might be able to get him. So if I was the Celtics, Bontemps, I would be on the phone. They have, in all honesty, Derek White. No.
That's not the trade. No. That's not the trade. That's not the trade at all. The money trade, the money part of the trade is Malcolm Brogdon. That's the part of the trade. Which they're not trading Derek. They ain't trading Derek White for Jrue Holiday. The trade would be.
I want Derek White.
But you're not getting Derek White. The Celtics have their picks. The Celtics have their picks.
The picks aren't. You better give me them way the heck out because the Celtics picks aren't going to be very good.
They have all their picks. They've got Brogdon's salary. They've got Robert Williams, who would be an interesting guy to talk about trading, given they just traded for Kristaps Porzingis and they have Al Horford.
They don't have all of their picks. They do owe for Derek White the 20.
A swap.
Is that a swap?
It's a swap. It's a top one protected swap, I believe. It's not an actual pick.
You're right.
They have their picks to trade.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you arguing that Portland, who has Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton,
I'm saying Boston's not trading. Boston's not trading Derek White in that trade. I'm just telling you.
Would be more interested in Robert Williams than Derek White. I'd be interested in Derek White. You just talked about how there's going to be robust demand.
They're not. Okay, Boston is not going to trade Derek White. I'm telling you, if he ends up on the Celtics, that would be the package. I'm telling you, it wouldn't be for Derek White.
I don't like that package.
I do think that.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to like it, but that's what they'd be offering.
I think Portland trading Jrue Holiday is going to prioritize the draft capital over the, however you make the salary work. Like it's got to be about pick.
I'm not saying Boston's going to end up with Jrue Holiday, but I do not foresee, and maybe I'll be wrong. I didn't foresee Dame Lillard ended up on the Bucks this morning. I don't foresee a scenario where they try to trade for Jrue Holiday or some other player and they trade Derek White. I don't think they're trading Derek White.
All right. Well, if the Celtics could come out of this holding Derek White and Jrue Holiday, holy smokes. Whew, that would be a freaking squad.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they'd be a very good team. Jrue Holiday is awesome.
All right. Okay. Now you mentioned Philly.
Sure.
Philly. All right. Let me tell you a little something about Philly. We don't know what's going to happen with James Harden. Here's something interesting that I was working on today. James Harden has one of these Ben Simmons contracts. You'd think that Philly would never give one of these out again, wouldn't you? But I guess last year...
lots of guys in the league have this kind of contract, to be clear.
Not lots of guys. And I'm going to tell you something. A lot fewer are going to have it going forward.
Well, yes.
But I guess last year, when Harden was taking the pay cut, they really weren't in position to deal point negotiate. James Harden, he's owed little under $36 million this year. I think it's 35.6. He got 25% of his salary on July 1st. He has 25% of his salary due on October 1st, which is Sunday. Now, this is interesting. If your paycheck is on a Sunday, do you expect to get paid on McMahon? I'll ask you this. If your paycheck is due on Sunday, are you expecting to get your paycheck on Friday, or are you expecting to get it on Monday?
I'm expecting on Friday. It can't be late.
Okay. Well, apparently by the letter of the law in the CBA, the Sixers can wait until Monday. So that means they gave him about $9 million. It's like 8.9. They gave him about $9 million on July 1st. They're due to give him $9 million more, I believe, on Monday. If you're the Sixers, do you give him the $9 million, or do you wait to see if he shows up for training camp? Do you wait to see if he's on the plane, reports to the plane to fly to Fort Collins?
Gotta have those. Hey, he got to be there for the campfires, baby.
Oh yeah.
Kumbaya.
Bontemps, are you paying the $9 million, or are you waiting to see if James Harden reports? I'm not even talking about media day. I'm talking about walks up the stairs to the plane and the door closes.
Well, I suspect they can't legally do it. They can't legally withhold it if they're supposed to pay it. So I think it just.
What was he going to do? File a grievance while he's withholding?
Well, maybe. Service? I mean, maybe. We'll see. I mean, I guess we'll see if he shows up. I suspect he's going to show up and they're going to pay him. That's my guess, but I don't know.
Suspect he's getting paid either way. And
Probably.
as far as showing up, we'll see. Okay.
Showing up, and that could mean a lot of different things.
To be clear, I didn't say he
really be there.
To be clear, I didn't say what he's going to do when he shows up. I just said I think he's going to show up.
Let me ask you this. Now, granted, by the way, it took the Sixers and the Nets literally years to get the fine money back to the Sixers they had to claw back the money from Simmons. They had to garnish I remember Bobby Marks writing this story. They had to garnish his wages from the Nets to get their fine money back.
Yeah, me and Bobby had to write about
that. Right. Okay.
Let's credit.
Bobby was in charge.
Are they giving James Harden $18 million with the threat of him not showing up? It's fascinating.
I'm just going to break out hives thinking about writing about these damn Simmons grievance stories. I'd write 7,000 of those stories. God, don't make me do that again, James, please.
What's the best club in Fort Collins?
I'm probably going to find out next week.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I'll be on the scene looking for it.
Bontemps will be working the red carpet.
All right, so Philadelphia is where it all started for Jrue Holiday. He was an all-star there before being traded to New Orleans.
To start the process.
Yeah.
I have been told
the start of the process.
I have been told that Tyrese Maxey is not available for prime Michael Jordan. Bontemps, what would Philadelphia have to do to get in for that?
I mean, I think that would be a James Harden trade along with whatever they get for him and whatever draft assets they can cobble together. I think would be the trade for Jrue. There would be my guess. I don't think it would be a Tyrese Maxey for it.
They still
they have a couple. They have one or two picks of their own, and I think that the idea there. Again, I'm spitballing this, but like the idea I think would be you turn James Harden into what you can get, and then you turn around and trade that with what you have not nailed down to get Jrue. I think the thing that's it. This is a different. We talked about the Knicks. I think we should talk about them. The dovetail of this though is the team that I'm looking at immediately is the Los Angeles Clippers, because they have Terrence Mann, they have a couple draft picks, they have expiring salary. Jrue Holiday on the Clippers would be pretty good. He's from LA. I think you'd feel comfortable about him re-signing, and you put him with those two guys if they're all on the court. Again, very big if with Kawhi and PG, who I saw our buddy Ohm tweeting today that Lawrence Frank says the Clippers have had consistent talks with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George when asked about potential extensions. He called it a process, but the Clippers are hopeful to continue building around their two stars. So we'll see where that is in a year. However, if you have Jrue Holiday with those two guys, that's as good of a trio as anybody has. So I certainly would think they're going to be. I certainly think they would be kicking the tires on a
any
Jrue
team
trade.
that was a Dame team, which it's the Sixers, and at least to a certain extent the Celtics were, the Clippers as well. So they are a Jrue Holiday team.